Welcome back. Rank has been a big week in Melbourne, and as such, a lot of businesses have felt a bit of a pinch, and it's been reflected in the data. So in Melbourne, over the last week, we had a couple of big events. We had a big car race called the Grand Prix, which is quite big, and we also had the start of the AFL season. And that together has seen a decrease in a lot of stats across the sites that we're monitoring that have a mainly Melbourne audience. Also, this time of year for businesses can be really tricky. It can be a downtime in March because we've got the perfect storm of BAS statements due and taxation due and all this sort of stuff all happening at once. So it can be a difficult time for some businesses this time of year. So if you're noticing a downward trend, it's perfectly normal. I'll talk to you about that later because that's really interesting, that thing there. But more importantly, I just wanted to point this out to you. Look, this may never, ever happen again. So you need to have a quick look at that. Look at that. That's probably the last time you'll see me there. Yeah, that's for the AFL fans out there. What I want to talk to you about today is a thing that we used to do a lot of, and what happened was we tend not to do it so much anymore because there's no focus on it from SEOs, and that is track where the Googlebot goes on your site. The reason we used to do a lot of it is because Google used to take forever to index a page, right? Like weeks. It used to take, if you could get a new site index within 2 weeks, you were doing really, really well. And so you used to just hang out looking at the stats, looking at the access logs for the web server to find out if the Googlebot had been. Because the way this works is that the bots, a good bot, will come in and it will identify itself to the web server and tell it, I'm this bot, and so you'll know. And the reason we used to do it is because if a page wasn't ranking, and actually you would then check, well, is it in the index? And you go, no, it's not in the index. And you think, well, that means Google hasn't been to it. Not all the time. And this happened to my post from last week. Usually it gets indexed within minutes, and it took over 24 hours. So sometimes Google is weird. So anyway, I went digging to find out why. And this is the post from last week. And I thought, I did just that. It's like, the page isn't ranking for its own page title. That's odd, because it's not, it's not a hard title to rank for, I wouldn't have thought, SEO triage. And so then I've got this tool called Bot Tracker, and it is a plugin for, Crawltrack. It is a bot tracker. It's a plugin for WordPress. As you can see, it's pretty old and clunky, right? But it does the job. All it's really doing is actually looking at the log files for your web server. That's all it's doing. And Google Analytics won't tell you terribly much, or anything for that matter, typically, about bots coming to your site. And there's all sorts of bots. I'm just looking at the Google bot at the moment. But the reason for that is that Google Analytics works based on loading a piece of JavaScript when a page loads, and it basically counts that. Whereas your web server logs, it keeps a record of every page that's requested by everybody, including the bots. So we can see here that this is over the last week. The bot's been to the site 514 times. It's crawled 302 pages total on those 514 visits. So what I wanted to do was find out, well, did it crawl the page? And sorry about this is the flakiness of this particular plugin, but it works. So what I've done here is I've looked for the word triage on the page, and you can see here these are the actual pages that have been crawled by Google. And this one here, it says this page is actually a FeedBurner link, from a FeedBurner link. This page here is actually, you can see that word buffer there. This URL, so the actual blog post is SEO triage. The URL Google has found, though, or has crawled, is from twitter.com. And it got there via me pushing it out through Buffer. All right, so Google has gone in on the same day that I've pushed it out on Twitter. immediately crawled it and come back. And then you can see down here, it's gone into my Twitter. You can see here, there's another one. Twitter is coming in from Twitter. But if we go down here a bit, we can also see, once again, I've broken it now, but there's a number of those, of that post, from the different places that I send out my links to. So, for instance, I'll send it out to Google+, send it out to Facebook. I haven't seen one from Facebook in here yet, and the post has been to Facebook, and it's publicly, oh, there you go. Oh, no, that's not it. So we've got 1 of 11. They're probably just posts. So, but these are the pages that Google's actually crawled. Now, the reason it's important to know that is it gives you an understanding or a fallback position to say, just exactly how is Google crawling my site? How often is it coming to my site? If you think that Google isn't coming to your site often, then you can actually check that and find out, right? So this one, Crawl Track, works really well. But the reason I'm showing you those crawls from social is that you remember a couple of weeks ago I showed you this beautiful organic traffic graph, and this is from a brand new site in the finance space. And, you know, we got the SEO right on the site and those sorts of things. And we've taken it from 11 organic visits a day to, what's the peak there, 231, yeah, so 230 visits a day over the course of, well, essentially 3.5 months. And the way that we did it was purely with content, right? Just good content that we're writing on their behalf. We're ghostwriting it for them. It's not rubbish content. And I lied to you. I said, you know what? I haven't done any backlinking. Well, I lied because we actually had. We'd basically been tweeting out from their own Twitter account every time they published a new blog post. As simple as that. So the only backlinks that they had, apart from the yellow pages, that sort of stuff, was Twitter and Facebook. And I believe that's where the combined signal in this particular instance, for this particular client, in this particular category, has worked really well. That combination of fresh links being shared out through social media and nice, fresh content being updated all the time. This is why you need to play in all these other areas. And I've got some killer stuff to tell you about Facebook, but I'm not going to tell you this week. But if you can't wait for me to tell you this killer stuff about Facebook, this bloke, Sean Callanan, he's one of the blokes on Beers, Blokes and Business, and he's told me that he's giving a discount to his workshop, which I've learned some killer stuff from him about Facebook, and there's some scary, creepy, sneaky stuff that is really cool for marketers, as it turns out, but he'll probably tell you all about it. And he's also got a couple of other blokes there. Josh, been in digital forever, talking about strategy. And Sama was the guy who built the big yellow Lego car. He was the guy who didn't build it. He got someone else to build it. He got a genius to build it. It was his idea, his project, or he funded it anyway. It was him and Raoul. But Raoul's not going to be there, just Sama. Or Steve is actually his real name. And he told me to tell you that if you enter the word blokes here, you will get a discount. I don't know what it is. It's probably 90% off or something like that. He'll hate me for saying that. But anyway, so you just go to Sports Geek. There it is. There's the URL. Just type that in. Or nowhere else I can put it really. But just go to Sports Geek website. Sports Geek. You can remember that, right? And he'll show you there. But it'll be a really good day because workshop. I'm actually thinking of sending a couple of staff to it as well. So that it's propeller head stuff you need to know, but it won't be so techy that it makes your brain fall out. And that's it for this week's show. Hopefully that's helpful, and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.